Is screen time an addiction? Hey, ScouterStan. Let's talk a little bit about screen time addiction. This is one of those things. We have mobile phones and tablets and computers and all that stuff. Our youth are having a real hard time with screen time. Now, today's subject was suggested by Luke Capria, who actually does a lot of work with his Cub Scouts with yo-yos. And that's a very hands-on thing. I've got a lot of den leaders that work with frisbee golf, that kind of stuff, and they also do boomerangs. You know, the little soft foam ones. Those are fun for a lot of Cub Scouts. These are things that are possible, and they will help curb to a certain degree that screen time addiction. And it's so important that we think outside of the box. It is amazing to me how many people have brought this up. Today's youth are actually becoming sort of disabled because they're bent over looking at their cell phone. And this causes damages to their neck. And the closer you get to the brain, the more damage you could do. It is amazing all of the research that's coming out about the physicality of screen time, especially with small devices, that kind of cause the youth to kind of hunch over and lean in to the device. I recently talked with a scout leader who just got back from summer camp, and they had their typical homesickness cases, which they're totally trained and prepared for. But something they're not prepared for is scouts that did not have the ability to constantly media check everything. They were going through withdrawals from the addiction of screen time. And that was not something that they were prepared for. Typically, scout camps are very remote. They're out in the wilderness, and they do not have great cellular service or internet service for that matter, and it's because of their location. So it kind of nulls the possibility out of constantly checking in. Unfortunately, these scouts were having real symptoms that needed some help. So it was amazing to me hearing about this for the first time. Now, this subject, when I first thought of it, I realized the irony. This is a video about screen time, and you're probably watching this on a cell phone. But a lot of adults have the problem too. This constantly checking in is so ingrained, and it's made even more enticing by the phone. The phone itself can actually beep and blink and do all kinds of stuff to let you know you got a new post or somebody gave you a thumbs up or something. It is amazing all of that connectivity that goes on with that device in your hand. Schools, churches, scout meetings, where cell phones have been known to actually disrupt entire meetings. It is so part of our culture today. And it's so important that we realize that this screen time addiction is not good for America's youth. As a scout leader, it's almost impossible to teach a skill to a youth that has their face completely buried in their mobile phone, scanning through TikTok. It's impossible. It's getting to the point with some units that they're actually asking everyone to silence their phone or place their phone in a basket or something of that nature so that it doesn't disrupt the meeting. Now, that might be a quick fix, but in the long run, we need to teach the skill of actually doing that automatically. either putting their phones into camp mode, the off button, or silencing them completely so that they're not tempted by the constant buzzing and beeping that it would do. Teaching the true meaning of a scout is courteous. Learning when it's appropriate to use the cell phone, when it's appropriate to look something up. That is critical throughout all of scouting, is teaching those skills. Hey, before we go any further, I want to make sure that you are invited to come to the live meeting. The live meeting is on the first Sunday of each month at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So please join us. Now, you're going to have to adjust for whatever time zone you're in, but please join us and join in. That's a great way to ask questions, and I'm there to answer them. Also, I want to personally thank all of the patrons on Patreon for their continued financial support. Also, if you would like to become a channel member right here on YouTube, hit the join button and go through that process. It's a great way to help fund what you see here. If you don't want to do a monthly donation, that's fine. We have a thank you button. Just hit the thank you button and make a one-time donation. That is always appreciated. And let's get right back to it. The fear of missing out, FOMO. This is something that was new. Old guy, okay? I get these things all the time. FOMO is the fear of missing out, and it is amazing the research that's been done on this. Young people that are vulnerable to being manipulated, they often, through media, see images, read things, and see things that may not be good for them. You know, that may or may not be good. It's a matter of an individual. But regardless, a lot of them are constantly checking their mobile phone just to see what the latest updates are. Could be a thumbs up, a bell dings, or different lights and stuff on the phone could actually come on. It is amazing all of the different notifications that are out there. And cutting a lot of that off is great because that decreases their distraction level. And that's the biggest problem. There are people that get into injured things because they're distracted by the cell phone. Now, in some states, even texting is illegal when you're driving. So I know that I live in a state where it is. You can get a very serious ticket. And repeat offenders could even get arrested. So constantly checking their phones up to 100 times a day is incredible, okay? There's a problem. And the best thing they could do to see if they have a problem, this may not be a problem, is to disconnect from their cell phone, from their screen time for 24 hours. And if they suffer anxiety, if they get irritable and withdrawn, then they may have a serious problem with screen time. That's an injury to what they are. And that's important to recognize. Now imagine how much more schoolwork or art or music could be done instead of every 10 minutes checking your mobile phone. Think about that. It could really change an individual. This FOMO, the fear of missing out, that is one of those things that a lot of scouts are constantly checking, constantly having their hands move, reading screens or seeing images. And a lot of times they're not interacting, they're actually just absorbing. And that's not good either. Now, after that 24 hours, you have to ask yourself one very serious question. Did you get more done in that day? You might have been stressed because you didn't have your cell phone. You couldn't check in. You couldn't do certain things that you were in the habit of doing. So that's one of those things that you got to look at. Now, guarantee the minute that they're back online, they will get filled in. Don't let others determine your connection. You're making an actual choice to remove yourself for 24 hours, very short period of time, one day, out of that stream of constant flow. And it's so important, because one thing that you will absolutely determine: are you in control of it, or is it in control of you? At the end of the day, that's what matters. That's the most important part of knowing that you have a problem or an addiction. Screen time can be very detrimental in so many ways, as we've discussed. And we do a lot of stuff for our scouts, and we need to keep doing and thinking outside the box, outside of the tent. That's one of those things that we like to do. Think outside of it. There's so much more going on in the world, and scouting gives us those opportunities to do even more. Everything from sharpening a knife to putting up a tent or climbing a mountain. There's so many different things. Leadership skills and morals and everything. It's amazing. You will not get that by checking your mobile phone every 10 minutes, okay? It's not going to happen. It's constant disruption is what that is. And it's the individual doing it to themselves. It is something we need to see as adult leaders, and need to help youth get through that. It is something that we need to do, and we do a lot for our scouts. We really do. We really put in a lot of time with our scouts, and that's very important. And I want to thank you so much for being with me today, and of course checking in and viewing a video about screen time. Okay, so anyways, until next time, I'll see you on the trail.